Hello, this is Alex from phpacademy.org, back with another video tutorial for the new Boston. Now in this tutorial we're looking at using the GHD library with PHP to generate an image based on a security code that we're going to make look much like this. So it's a hard to read code, so it's going to be hard to read by bots that may be browsing data forms or browsing trying to submit forms. Obviously they're freely accessible to submit data through, but if we add this simple functionality to perform, it makes it harder to see. So that's basically what we're going to be creating, and we're going to be using this, creating this obviously in PHP, but we're going to be using the GD library to generate our numbers. We're going to have 4 characters. You can see if I just refresh the page, you can see that these numbers, and in fact the lines to the squiggly lines around them, the noise if you like, change as well. So we're going to learn how to create one of these forms, and then we're going to learn how to create, well, first of all the image itself we're going to learn how to create, and then what we're going to do is we're going to learn to create this little form here that allows us to actually match them. So at the moment I can see an 8, a 3, a 1 I think, and an 8. So if I type 8, 3, 8, 3, 1 and 8 and I click submit, we have this little confirmation up here, a match. Now if I was to type the code in wrong, so I could type 9999 in here and click submit, you can see it says invalid code, try again. Here I've got 3700 I think, click submit and a match. So you can see how this is quite flowing. You can add it straight into your form as well, so when you submit your form this must match as well. And every time you resubmit a form, say the user gets it wrong, you can keep your data, but this will always change, and they'll have to try again. So the first thing we need to do, let's talk about the flow of the program, because we need to establish how we're going to do this before we actually do it. Now if you've already seen my tutorial on creating text to images, then this will make a lot more sense. So please, if you haven't already watched that, go back and have a look at the text to image tutorial. It basically covers converting an email address to an image in order to maintain some level of security on a website with regards to spam and bots scanning through and taking email addresses. So have a look at that tutorial and you'll learn 90% of what we're going to be doing in this tutorial. So it's very important you understand how to create images from text using GD first of all. Second of all, if you know all of this, you need to ensure that you've got GD installed. I'm using an XAMPP package, so PHP comes with GD automatically installed. The third thing to bear in mind is that the flow of the program and how it works. So we need to think about, first of all, what we're doing here. Now the random numbers that you see are generated using the rand function in PHP. Now what we're doing is we're setting this as a session. Now because we're setting this as a session, it means that when we submit our page, we can check whether it's already submitted, and if it is submitted, if we have submitted our form, we can make the if basically the flow of it is that you type in your code here, so we can type 1000 for example, and it says invalid code, try again. So it asks us to try again, so we try the code once, and we store this value in a session. So it's saved in a session, which means that when we generate the image file itself in generate.php, so let's go over to generate.php, you can see this is where the image stems from, and obviously the number's the same with regards to this. However, because we are setting the session on the index file, this will change each time. So if this doesn't make sense, then it will when we go into the code. The third thing you have to bear in mind is that we're using true type fonts. Now you can see that this font's a sort of squirrely font. I've called that inside my file, I've called that font.tff or TTF, sorry, because it's a true type font. So we're going to be using and introducing a different function, and this is called image TTF text. So we're creating text in an image format, but we're using a true type font, and we're going to import that file as well, or at least incorporate it into this function. And this function takes a couple more parameters that we haven't already looked at in other tutorials. We're also going to be looking at the image line function as well. So if you'd like to read up on them beforehand, please feel free to do so you understand the tutorial a lot better. Otherwise, we're going to crack straight on with the code. Okay, so now we're into our generate.php file. There's a few things we need to do before we do anything else. Now the first thing is we need to change the content type of the page, and we do this using the header function. So if you've seen the other tutorials on the GD library, you'll know that we have to change the header type in order to process this generate.php file as an image in itself. So we're going to say content type, and this is image/JPEG. So we're changing the content of this page now to a JPEG image, which is perfect because we're outputting our Captcha image, if you like, as a JPEG image. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is set up a few variables, or a couple of variables, just to ensure that we know what we're doing. Now the first one is the text that we're going to be inputting into or processing as an image. So I'm going to create a variable called text, and this is equal to $_session, and I've called my the variable secure. So if we go into index.php, let's first of all start session, so we're session start, and then what we're doing is we're going to be generating this here. So whilst I'm programming in here in generate.php, I want to ensure that it's defined first of all in index.php, and we've generated a random number. So under here I'm simply going to say $_session secure equals rand, and we're generating a random number between 1000 and 9999. So this is going to give us a 4 figure number.